from a perspective of an Arsenal fan, then we're seeing ourselves going down the pecking order because these guys are not going to come in, because I've heard some people say it depends on their intent and what they're going to try and do with Newcastle. They haven't bought Newcastle just to
come and mess about.
Yeah, they've come to Newcastle. They're gonna try and dominate the league, and for them, it's more so it's a status thing, isn't it? Compared to Sheikh Mansour at City, PSG, the Qatari boys. So for them, it's who can do it the biggest.
You can do it the biggest. Hi there guys, and welcome to a Dash of Sports Premier League show. I'll be your host and presenter, Dashiki Dash, and on today's show I'm going to be discussing the Newcastle Takeover and how it's caused a massive shockwave across the footballing world. But before I get into all of that, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Smash that like button, comment, and help me to get these subs up. I truly appreciate your love and support with that. And if you are already subscribed, thank you once again. And remember to press the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my shows. And one last thing, sharing is caring, so don't forget to share this. So on today's show, I'm going to be discussing the Newcastle Saudi takeover. Mike Ashley has finally sold his ownership of the club. But what does this actually now mean for Newcastle? And what kind of impact is it going to have on the Premier League? Well, I can't chop it up on my own. I can't discuss it on my own. So I had to bring a special guest along, a returning guest in Coach G, Coach Gerald Lammy, who's going to break down his side of things and what he thinks about the whole takeover itself. And we're also going to be previewing the up-and-coming games for Matchweek 8. And considering there's been an international break, oh man, I can't wait to get into some Premier League games. But without further ado, let's get into the show. Yes, we're back again. It's a Dash of Sports Premier League show. I'm back with my boy, Coach G. What's happening, my bro?
All good, my brother, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're just trying to get it in and fit it in while we can get it in. You know what I mean? How about yourself?
Yeah, man. All blessed, man. You know what I mean? Another week ahead to look forward to. So can't complain, man. Got a lot of exciting things to talk about as well today. So I'm looking forward to diving into that.
100%. International break, how's that been treating you? Because for me, it's always a period of time that I just think to myself, oh man, here we go again. It's just jarring, it's boring. How about yourself?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm not an international man myself. I kind of take this time to kind of, take some time off from the football. However, saying that, there were some good games, man. We had France versus Belgium. That was a good one. Lukaku, man turned up. He turned up. And then the France versus Spain, the Nations League final. That was a good game as well. And Mr. Benzema just showed the qualities that he has, man. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't understand how people can even question what this guy can do. Like, the guy's been away from the international scene for how many years? And he's
for a hot minute,
and he turned up in the Euros and he's turned up in the finals. So, nah, man, big game, big players.
Yeah, man. I think it's the fact that he was in the shadow of Ronaldo for so long, kind of maybe cast doubts in people's minds. But now you see the quality in the man, and obviously his off-field shenanigans that's kind of cost him his international time away, which is a shame, man, because he's a baller still, but he's taking the time now to do what he needs to do, innit?
100%, man.
100%. Yeah. But within that time, you see this international break right now is kind of like not a shadow, but it's kind of masked a little bit this Newcastle thing that we're going to talk about. Yeah, let's just get straight into it. Newcastle United have been taken over by the Saudis consortium. That was it, the Saudi, the country, right?
The country, bro. The country. The country. We're talking billions here.
We're talking billions. We're talking in excess of 300 billion for these owners. And if we pull it into like kind of context, the United of like 10 million, Arsenal like 7 million, and these guys are coming into the game 300 billion. What are you saying, Coach G?
Do you know what? As a fan, as a football fan, it's exciting, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's gonna make, and as a Premier League fan as well, it's gonna make the league a lot better. terms of players, in terms of managers coming in. Overall, it's exciting. If I'm talking from a perspective of an Arsenal fan, then we're seeing ourselves going down the pecking order because these guys are not going to come in, because I've heard some people say it depends on their intent and what they're going to try and do with Newcastle. They haven't bought Newcastle just to
come and mess about.
Yeah, they've come to Newcastle. They're gonna try and dominate the league, and for them, it's more so it's a status thing, isn't it? Compared to Sheikh Mansour at City, PSG, the Qatari boys. So for them, it's who can do it the biggest.
You can do it the biggest. But this should it seems like it's a shock to most people, but this shouldn't really be a shock because there has been rumblings that Mike Ashley's been trying to sell for the longest time, and I think now that reality's kicked in, this is where now people are now shaking in their boots. So you reckon this is a big statement for Newcastle right now?
100%, bro. 100%. I think this is gonna be let's look at Newcastle as a club. It's a big club. Let's be honest. Yeah. Like, it's had good history in terms of players in the past. You've had likes of Alan Shearer who's been there. They've even signed players like Patrick Kluivert who's been there, like one of the best strikers. So
Faustino Asprilla.
Yeah, there you go. You're bringing like Ginola. Do you know what I mean? The list can go on, and without a doubt, once they get in the big stars, that stadium's going to be packed. Well, it's called Sports Direct. I don't know. I don't know how long that's going to be called. 100%.
St. James's Park.
It needs to go back to St. James's Park. Do you know what I mean? So even things like that, what Mike Ashley, I know he's a businessman, but he kind of took away the identity of the club, and I feel like that's what the fans were more so upset about, because once you take out that identity, it's like you lose that touch, you lose that connection with the club. So hopefully, with the new owners coming in, they can bring that sense of identity back to Newcastle. And I'm sure you saw the scenes, the Newcastle fans.
It reminded me when Alan Shearer signed.
Yeah, boy. Do you know what I mean?
So mad.
Do you know what I mean? So it's yeah, man, it's exciting times. You know what? If out of all the clubs that deserve this, I would say Newcastle. They've gone through. I know we've gone through a lot of things, but compared to them,
that the thought of being relegated, as like you said, a big club, one city, one club.
Yeah.
And then if you're, a part of that fan base and you see your team get relegated, we even just touched the bottom of the Premier League and we was already panicking, finished. But let alone actually seeing your team get relegated, not once, but twice.
Yeah.
Now, I completely understand Mike Ashley's had a pretty much tall order with the club, that they were on the brink of debt. He's gone in there, he's cleaned up the club, but he's had to get the club dirty in order to clean it. You know what I'm saying? The Saudis have obviously taken over a club that's debt free. They're in a great position in terms of finances, but it's just the hardship that those fans have gone through.
No, I agree with you, bro. It's again, going back to us, we look how much troubles we go to, and we're not in that position. So imagine, them. So I mean, bro, will we see success straight away? Again, I'm not too sure. It just depends on how quick they can get these star-studded players coming through. We've already seen, speculations of Steve Bruce losing his job.
Yeah,
no one wants to see that, but that's the harsh reality of the game that we're in. Like, do you
think that he would how can I put this? Does he deserve a chance in the market with the money that they got?
Nah. Nah. Do you know what it is? It could be a conversation if Newcastle was sitting 7th right now and started off well. Then it could be a thing. Well, you know what? He's earned his chance to have a shot. I think them being 17th, wherever they are, or bottom 3,
it's not good enough.
It's not good enough. Do you know what I mean? So I do feel like I don't even know if he's going to make the Villa game, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? On the weekend. So, and if he does, I think after the Villa game, I think they're going to bring someone in.
So you think he gets the Spurs game, goes into that after Spurs, then that's it?
I think we might see someone. I think we might see a short term the assistant take over for a small period of time until they can get in a bigger manager. So I think these boys are coming in, they're not going to mess about, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just touched on, in your opinion, so time frame wise, 5 years, like within 5 years, so for a serious challenge, or what's your take on with the business that they're going to be doing?
Well, like again, I've done my research, I've done my
Come
homework.
on.
Yeah, like some facts here. Man City got taken over in 2008, and their first trophy was in 2011 when they won the FA Cup. So
Okay.
within 3 years, they won a trophy. So could they do it quicker? And by the sounds of it, they've got a lot of cash. You know
Yes,
what I
they
mean?
do.
That they can pump into. However, my only thing is you have to package it right to players. So, are they prepared to pay the excess fee and go beyond? Because, no
That's what's going to take.
disrespect.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about Newcastle up there, and I heard it's a lovely city, a lovely town and whatnot. But how many players would want to go all the way up there? Do you know what I mean? City was a different proposition because you had Man United there, another big
Yeah.
club there. Do you know what I mean? When Roman Abramovich took over, it's London, and also Chelsea was a big club as well. Let's be fair to them as well. They, it's got a rich history behind it, and the area itself is quite wealthy. So if they can package the city right to these players, which it's not hard, you just got to
Yeah.
give them that extra premium. And if you're getting that 90, here's 150. Do you know what I mean?
Straight.
Money talks.
And
So
also the fact that they're not in Europe. So I was hearing the fact that the financial fair play is a little bit different amongst the Premier League. So they could be spending in excess of 250 million alone in just January. But obviously, once they get into Europe, it's a different proposition. Do you think that they need that Robinho moment?
yeah,
That
100%.
signing. So it's just that one signing just to kickstart things, and then players start thinking, "Oh, if he's going there, I'm going there as well." Who do you reckon will be that player would be?
Bro, do you know what? I'm putting my neck on the line for this. I think Kane's gonna go.
Woo!
He's gonna be the shearer. He's gonna take that number 9. He's gonna be the shearer for them. Like, I think this is his chance to get out of Tottenham. Like, I think if any club's going to pay that 150, 170, 200 for him, it's going to be Newcastle now, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
But
if they're paying that.
Don't you think that Kane at his situation at the moment is he wants to go somewhere that's guaranteed? So if we're saying it's like 3 years, has he got 3 years? Has he got 3 years to wait for the project to?
It might not even. They might say 2 years. They might say, you know what, next season we're going for at least a trophy. Like, this guy hasn't got anything at the moment, bro, to show. Do you know what I mean? So in that sense, maybe maybe in 2 seasons we might see him there. But will he stay another 2 seasons? What club is going to go and pay Kane right now? Do you know what I mean? So
his money's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. To get him out of that deal at Tottenham, it's going to have to take someone big. But again, it depends on if he's willing to do another 2 seasons maybe of no trophies, and then a third season we're going to be challenging, or do you know what I mean? So City won the league after 4 years, 4 seasons. So
I was thinking more like, I think Newcastle might go for a period of time where they get the Robinhos, but then they equally get like your Adebayors, your Joes from Brazil.
Yeah.
Them
man.
Them kind of players, or maybe just go and raid. There's rumors of like Talisman from Leicester and stuff like. Get a couple Premier League players first, and then they start building their way up. But like you said, it's the project is there, but it's just all about packaging it right, making sure that because as easy as it seems just to have money and being able to throw it at the league, it's not that easy, No,
of course,
especially in this day and age, because when Chelsea's and your Man Cities are doing it, it's only maybe 2 clubs. Now you got like a third club. So you got Chelsea, you got Man City are also equally able to compete in the transfer market, because you can only spend so much. But they're obviously Newcastle, they can play the extra premium on top. Like, okay, if City are going 150 for the player, we're gonna go 170, 180. So it's mad.
It depends. I think. So to
But
cut you off, but I just think it depends on their approach. If they are willing to say, you know what, we're gonna go and pay that premium, because then that might hinder them in the future, like going forward, regardless of what. No, whoever they come towards and say, we want this player, they're gonna ask for premium straight away. But
yeah,
it depends on their business. They might just say, you know what, it doesn't matter how much money we've got. This is what we're prepared to pay. Do you know what I mean? You can't bully us just because we have a reputation at the moment.
mm,
So for me, it just depends on their approach. I feel like they do need to invest in terms of the academy. Like talking about long term, we've seen
yeah, yeah.
what City's done, and it's only now that we've seen what the likes of someone like Foden coming through from the academy.
Mm.
So it does take time. Do you know what I mean? It does take time.
Newcastle definitely needs to have a homegrown player, and I
Yeah.
say that because of the fact that that fan base is
Mm,
actually mad.
incredible.
I've
Yeah.
I've I've not been privileged enough to be up there at St James's Park, but I've been at the Emirates while
Yeah.
Newcastle have played Arsenal, and I've seen their fans. Them man, they come down to London. They're in the stadiums, bare chested, swinging their shirts, singing, no matter what. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that was a League Cup game. So let
Yeah.
alone
Yeah.
how they are when they're up there, turning out week in, week out. These are the same fans. If they're not feeling what's going on with their club Monday morning, you see
Hmm.
how out here in London, you ain't gonna see no fans Monday morning outside the stadium,
Nah.
getting onto the board and stuff like that. So, if any fan base in the Premier League deserve this, is definitely Newcastle. What impacts now? Obviously, we've spoken about the club in itself because
Hmm.
we was hearing rumors about there's 6 clubs that were opposing this takeover. The
100%.
impact it has now on the Premier League, like what do you think is going to be?
Um, you know, Again, those 6 clubs, I'm sure we was one of those clubs, because them coming in will definitely will hinder us. Do you know what I mean? So that's going to jeopardize our chances of getting into a European spot.
Yeah,
Which obviously everyone knows that will take away money from the club, and then it will have a trickle down effect. Other clubs such as Tottenham as well, which have spent new stadium, and
mm,
they've done well to where they got to at the moment. So even clubs like them, Leicester, who's again another club who's on the rise. So in terms of individual clubs, of course it's going to be a hindrance to them. In terms of the league, like I said earlier on, it's going to bring more excitement. Now we've got an extra team that is challenging for titles, or up there competing. Better players coming to the league now, so we might see that Mbappe's coming in. I know it's still
you
early
never
on,
know.
but
Your Griezmann's and them man there.
Griezmann's, Haaland. So do you know what I mean? So it opens up the door for better players to come through, and even for the city itself. Do you know what I mean? Just not just the league, but it's going to create jobs. Do you know what I mean, for people within
Yeah,
the city? It's going to bring more revenue to the city. More people going to go to watch games, and so shirt sales, and so overall for the city of Newcastle, it's a positive. For the league as itself, it will be a positive, and obviously each individual club will have their own qualms towards
yeah.
Newcastle owners taking over. So, but overall, I think it's going to impact the league as a fan in a positive
Mm.
way, in my opinion.
So obviously there's been talks about the consortium or the group that's obviously taken over Newcastle, and some of the stuff has not been overly positive.
Yeah.
There's been some negative points in it. Do you think that in terms of like them to, not to say overshadow, but just to cast that negative press aside, like a lot of like the community stuff that they need to do, like building the the youth team, building maybe even homes. Man City have done a lot of stuff that work in the community. Do you think that they'll need to do a lot of that to obviously win over the fans? I know they've been won
Yeah.
over in terms of the financial side of things, but in terms of helping the Newcastle community.
Yeah, no, definitely, bro. I think that first and foremost, like I said earlier on, bringing that identity back to Newcastle, I think that's how you're gonna keep the fans on board for a long time. Again, it
Mm,
depends on their intent. If it's a short term project for them, which I doubt it is anyway, then you're gonna get found out very, very quick. So if it's a project where they want to make an impact within the community, build community programs, and like you said, building homes the same way that Sheikh Mansour did in terms of City. So yeah, I think things like that will help. Yeah, there is a lot of speculations in terms of um, their background and things like
Yeah,
that,
the
which
human rights and all
their
that kind of
human
stuff.
rights. Obviously,
Yeah.
no one condones that. Do you know what I mean? So, however, I've heard poets say it before. The Jamaican saying, "Yeah, you don't even tell you dance a yard before you dance abroad." Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So make sure there's a lot of things that in this country that we need to
Look at
look at
yeah,
as well. You
us,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Before pointing the finger, and obviously
Mm.
it's different things, but still it's easier to say, oh,
I think
they're
I
doing
think
this.
it's quite, yeah, exactly. Just on the last bit you said, I think it's very easy to point the finger, because if you actually look at most, like, do you know how much money, to
Yeah,
say that free to acquire in business, like if it's like the excess of 300, even just in billions, there's
yeah,
going to be an element of shadiness. So if you
100%,
dig
bro.
deep,
Yeah,
we've all
100%.
we've always heard it about, the amount of, like, whether it be dodgy dealings or whatever it is, or whatever. So if you dig deep with any kind of owner, I'm sure you'll find something. I think just the responsibility, I think that's the key word,
Yeah,
of these owners, that when they come in and they take over and they know what they're buying into, and then I'm sure not just the money aspect, but these owners, they have to be, like, in terms of like a fan of the Premier League, coming in and maintaining the standards, because at the end of the day, it's the standards that's what's brought you to the dance. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So as long as you're not taking away from, and I think that's my only issue with these large takeovers, is just not to ruin the identity of the Premier League, the game that we've obviously grown up watching. I know the aesthetics of it is completely changed when we was growing up. You know what I mean? In the 90s, early 2000s, football's
yeah,
definitely changed. The money is crazy in the game right now, but to say that is just to make sure that the football that we're watching on a weekly basis is still there. The fan experience, that they're still getting that. I know we alluded to the fact that Newcastle might actually change the stadium to Sports Direct. We've got the Emirates.
yeah,
So I'm sure it probably won't go back to St. James's Park, but whatever they name the stadium, is just making sure that you still have the identity of Newcastle up there, because like I said, it's one city, one club business. So they're going to have to be smart with how they're treating the fans up there.
yeah,
Just obviously to just draw it back, I wanted to, because we spoke about Steve Bruce, and we're now just reading in regards to, he's probably going to be having a meeting with I say probably, he is actually going to be having a meeting with the owners, the coaching staff. It's likely that he's going. Let's just let's
yeah,
just cut
yeah,
it. Let's just cut
yeah.
it. Cut it. Let's see how it, and talk it how it is. Who would be the likely manager to go there? Like, who we thinking? Like, out of the because there is a few names that can just jump into that seat, and I feel
Yeah.
like it's going to be really important to get the right manager for the attraction of the club and the players, because obviously we've seen Man City with Pep and how easy it's to lure players and to get that project going. Who do you
Yeah.
reckon would be the likely manager to take that seat?
Again, bro, it just depends on the direction at what they're going towards. Like you said, if it's a thing where it's a slow burner, where you're buying more so players that are established Premier League players. So maybe the likes of, say, for instance, Aaron Ramsey, who's not playing at the moment at Juventus and hasn't had the greatest of times, and he's got a big contract. So maybe bringing in players like that. Now, you might be looking at managers such as, I don't know, can you lure in Brendan Rodgers at
Okay.
Leicester?
Yeah.
Can you bring in a Graham Potter who's shown that he's got a good philosophy, he can play good football, he understands the Premier League at the moment as well, doing very well at Brighton. So do you go for that approach, or do you go all guns blazing and you go for Conte? because he hasn't got a job at the
He
moment.
ain't
So
got
do
a
you
job at
say,
the
you know
moment.
what? Come January, we've got 150 for you to spend. And next season, we'll give you another 150 for you to spend. So do you go for that approach? Do you know what I mean? Does Conte want to go up to Newcastle where it's freezing cold? Do you know what I mean? Does he want to do that? So again, money talks, bro. It just depends on their approach. For me personally, to
Yeah,
see the longevity, I would try and go in for someone like Graham Potter and build slowly. Have that presence of, like you said, Man City brought in. They had to go through a lot of dead wood first before
yeah.
they
I was
got
just
to,
about to mention because
you know what I
they had
mean?
the likes of Mark Hughes.
Yeah.
They obviously they brought in yeah, I think was it Pellegrini first?
No,
Pellegrini,
Mancini
Mancini.
came after. But again, someone like him, Mancini,
Yeah.
who he knows what to expect if he does come
Mm,
late. Like, he's an international manager at the moment. Like, can you get him in? Maybe, I don't know, after the World Cup,
try
in
and see what you can.
2022, see
Yeah,
what if he can come in, because he understands the project. He's been in the position before. He brought success to City as well when he did come in and they won the league. So, do
exactly.
you go for that approach? Me personally, I would like to see them take their time. Gives us a bit of time as well. Do you know what I mean? To get some European spots. So, but take your time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Don't rush. I just think longevity wise, I think for me that would make sense. Getting in someone like Graham Potter, again, he understands football. So, do you bring in someone like him and build a philosophy through him, or like I said, you go guns blazing and say, you know what, we're going for Conte.
yeah. It's
So
Conte. There's Conte. There's Zidane.
Zidane in Newcastle.
You know what I'm saying? Those are opportunities right there. So I'm
Yeah.
just thinking to myself, like, as you said, what's the approach from these owners? Are they just looking to go in there and just be like, boom, splash, we're here? Because they're more capable than to do that, or are they looking for that slow approach and be like, all right, okay, we're building, and then once we get to a stable position where we've built enough, then bam, we're going with the big guns and stuff like that. Because it's very, it's crazy.
Who would you go for, bro?
Do you know
Manager
what?
wise.
Manager wise,
If you was the owner right now, who you going? Who you knocking on the door for?
the way I see it, because of just how the financial muscle they've got, you would think that automatically they'll go in for a big gun. But I'm just thinking to myself, even if you bring in Conte now, he hasn't got the players to kind of start with at this present moment. So it wouldn't make sense. So bring, like you mentioning someone like a Brendan Rodgers, someone like that can build. He has a history of building and using young players as well. Could make a major difference and bring them to a plateau where it's just like, all right, cool. We've got now the foundation to now bring in a mega star that can now be willing enough to be like, oh, you know what? I wanna play with this group. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's going to be quite interesting to see who they actually bring in and stuff like that. But listen, man, with the money they got, Newcastle, they've just thrown a spanner in the works for teams like Arsenal, who have been sleeping. We call Newcastle sleeping giants, but Arsenal right now, and I don't want to make it about Arsenal, but when you actually think about the grand scheme of things, that is just another position that's just going to be taken away from the likes of Arsenal.
100%. And what players would you go for?
Do you know what? Like you said, I think it's just establishing like players that have probably maybe done it in the league already. So I would even say like someone like Coutinho, at Barcelona right now. There are a few players out there that are, that have a bit of prestigeness about them that can then just help bring those other players in, you know what I mean? Because, someone like Coutinho will have his contacts as well, you know what I mean? It's no different to seeing how West Ham and, how they've brought in their players from another player's recommended and be like, nah, bring in my mate. He will do a good job. So yeah, it would be very interesting to see like who will be the first Robinho.
Yeah, well, it could
Newcastle.
be Coutinho, bro. It could be Coutinho.
You know
That's
what I
a good
mean?
shout. Coutinho. I would go, bro. I would raid, all these mid-table teams that are like half decent. So I'll go and get a Dominic Calvert-Lewin and
Ooh.
give them that big money and say, you know what, Dominic, we got a project here, come through. Can we go and lure in Declan Rice, come in, Calvin Phillips? Do you know what I mean? These English international players, can you come in? Do you know what I mean? Maybe even I heard Rio mention it as well, like maybe someone like Sterling, like, you know, which I don't know, I can't see it, but again,
yeah, but we
money
never thought
talks.
we'll see Robinho at Man City.
True,
You know what I'm saying?
You know
So
what I
it's
mean?
just
That's true.
literally we're waiting on tender hooks in regards to
Yeah.
that. In regards to that, but it's gonna be, man. Like you're obviously talking about this now. Obviously, when we're hearing that, this takeover 300 million, but when you actually break it down, it's not as simple as just like, oh, we've got 300 billion and we're just gonna throw it at the league. It's gonna, even just this season alone, bro. Could you imagine if they got relegated?
Yeah, and I think this is why I think they're making the approach from the beginning now to say, you know what, like with Steve Bruce, we're looking to go in a different direction. Do you know what I mean? Like I said earlier on, if Newcastle were sitting even 10th, then it might be a different conversation. At the moment, they're struggling. We're 7 games in, going into the 8th game. So in terms of that, you know, it's a different conversation. We can't afford to get relegated this season. You know what I mean? That's
that 300 billion in the championship, boy.
Mate, players are going to be on like 120 grand a week on championship. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, I think they'll be all right. I think this is why they're making that, you know, proactive approach where let's just get it done from now before it's too late.
Listen, I think all in all, Newcastle with this takeover, as much as people could be frowning upon it and being like, oh, it's not unfair or whatever, it brings excitement to the Premier League.
Yeah.
It brings like even just hearing the names of like your Mbappe's, your Haalands, the possibilities of these big names coming to the Premier League can only like make it greater, you know what I mean? So a lot of people should kind of just stop frowning upon the takeover and just actually seeing what the possibilities. Imagine like you be pretty much watching Champions League games on a weekly basis,
bro. This is Super League, bro. The English Premier League is the Super League. So
this is the Super League.
Going back to what you were saying earlier on in terms of certain, you know, ownerships being a bit crooked or whatnot, we had an episode where it was a pandemic in football where everyone just had a meltdown because of this whole Super League thing, and you saw the intentions between the big clubs where they were looking after themselves. So, the English Premier League is the Super League. They've had the same model or approach to the league, the same way that the Super League was trying to go towards. You know, make it the biggest,
barring the relegation, because they just
barring of course, barring the relegation. But you know, those top teams, they're not going to get relegated, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As much as we was the bottom of the league for a little while and whatnot, but we're not going to get relegated, are we? So,
nah.
You know, but yeah, no, like you said it, bro. It brings excitement, and it's the English Super League now.
So just quickly touching on before we finish, because man, we could talk about this forever in terms of just like the prospects and just guessing and seeing what the Newcastle are actually going to do and what they're going to bring to the dance. They are playing in the game. So match week 8, if we go into that quickly, their first game now with the hype. It's a Sunday, late kickoff, 4:30. So it's a Super Sunday game. Newcastle versus Tottenham. How we feeling about that game and what it means now?
I think, to be honest with you, it just depends on who they bring in. If there's another manager, if not, I think there's going to be excitement around the place, around and the players. But you know, it's the same team, so like, there's not much difference, is there? If you got the same manager, same team, they might be buzzing for this week, but then come that weekend, it's you know,
pressure on Spurs. You reckon pressure on Spurs?
I think Spurs have got pressure in general at the moment. You know, they haven't had a good run of games, so I think, you know, yeah, there is pressure on them. Yeah, I would say there is pressure on them to perform against them.
And when I mean pressure as well, in terms of just the grand scheme of things, because you know, equally, Spurs have, you know, they've been, the fan base have been screaming and crying about the money that's being spent, and obviously they want a possible takeover. They want also some oil money, if we're saying that in terms of that. So, you know, losing that game, does that apply more pressure on the board on their side, just in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, but you know, the board's not going anywhere.
Nah.
The board is not gonna. I think they've played it to the best that they can. Do you know what I mean? They've just moved to a new stadium, and to see Tottenham where it is now compared to where it was a couple of years ago, it's a huge club. Do you know what I mean? It's a different club. I think they're going through that transition that we did as well, moving into new stadiums and whatnot. So, for them, again, it's a transition. We're gonna have to wait till the end of the season to see where they're at, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, compared for that game, I see it going
Spurs.
a boring draw.
Yeah.
A boring draw. Bro. Boring draw.
Cool. So just to quickly touch on the games on Saturday. So back off the international break. Yes, man. Finally, man. We need some Prem football back, man. And that's all of this international league business. Do away with that. So we've got Watford, which is the early kickoff on Saturday. Watford versus Liverpool. They ended Liverpool's
unbeaten run.
Unbeaten run. So obviously that will be played on in terms of what they can do. Can they obviously take Liverpool? The next game after
Ranieri as well.
Ranieri's back. Good shout right there. First game back. The Tinkerman.
The Tinkerman is back. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what? Looking at Watford, they have a very similar trait to that Leicester team. They've got a lot of direct players. They've got decent players in the middle of the park. They remind me of similar traits to Leicester. João Pedro, very, very good player, has been injured. People haven't had a chance to look at him. But again, he's an individual player with a lot of talent. So once he comes back in the picture, we might see a different Watford.
Yeah, and I think like with someone with like Ranieri, although he was dubbed the Tinker Man, when he was at Leicester, he wasn't tinkering about there. He's very direct
players, isn't it?
Yeah, they're very direct with his play, and I think maybe go into a club like Watford once he's got his first 11. You know what I mean? You probably see a better performance from Watford. So that'll be a very interesting game to see. Obviously, Liverpool, you got the likes of Mo Salah, Mane. They're doing the business as per usual.
Did we talk about Mo Salah last time?
Nah, we didn't touch on Mo Salah, man. We spoke about Benzema at the start of the show, but someone like Mo Salah definitely needs to be getting his kudos and applause. That's probably for another show. We'll definitely touch on that.
Yeah, we need
to really give him his flowers because the guy's amazing, man. Amazing in terms of his goal scoring and to think that he's not even an out and out striker. You know what I mean? In the Premier League, he's doing. So we're definitely going to touch on that. Next game is going to be Aston Villa Wolves. So a bit of a Midlands derby up there. Then we've got Leicester, Man United. It'll be very interesting to see. Tasty match. I can always see Leicester getting up for that game, and Man United also with players coming back from international
Jamie
play.
Vardy likes to score against them as well.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see that game. Then we've got Man City, Burnley. It says exactly what it says on the tin.
Steamrolling.
Norwich versus Brighton. Brighton are riding high in the league right now, and Norwich, once again, man, coming up into the Premier League and just, I don't know, man, what kind of preparation they've had for the Premier League because it just seems like it's going to go the same way, going up, going down. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Just a quick one on Brighton. Yeah, I'm like, bro, people are gonna think I'm a Brighton fan or something, but like, do you know what? It will be interesting to see how they react to after the international break because sometimes it can go either way. When you're in that momentum, it's important to stay in that momentum. So when you get that break, we might look at the game Norwich and Brighton, but so it depends on how they come back. So
very good point.
But Brighton, good team, man.
Starting 11s are always going to be tested over this period. I always say, a lot of teams have got very good starting 11s. Where the cracks start showing is once we start heading towards like the December period. So,
cold nights,
man, and injuries and stuff like that. So it's a lot of teams are going to see how they're going to be react. That's why I said the Man United game against Leicester, all the international players. Leicester probably ain't got that many players that have gone off to international duties where United pretty much got their whole squad.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see. So that was Norwich, Brighton. The next game, Southampton versus Leeds, down there in the South
5-5.
Coast. Yeah.
It's going to be a basketball match.
It's going to be a basketball match. Man,
both can't defend, but they can score.
Yeah, man. Bielsa, I thought that Bielsa this season would probably find a fine balance, but it's like he's gone back to like just going all out. And
he's got no filter, bro.
Yeah,
it's either
man.
this way or not. Do you know what I mean? So I think, and second season syndrome, they say as well. Do you know what I mean? A lot of teams will suss you out and know how you play. So they might, especially against Leeds, some teams might be a little bit more reserved. That's why you see bigger teams. They're wary because it's like Wilder, I guess. You know they got a knockout punch. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know. Yeah, I know we was talking. So you know he's got a knockout punch, but you know he's gonna come all guns blazing, and you can catch them out. So yeah, I think that's Leeds for you.
Bielsa, man, and then bionic knees. He's gonna need a chair this season, man.
I don't know what he squats, but mate,
he's gonna need a chair this season, man. I can't see them really doing too well if he's not gonna be working on his defense. You got to work on the defense there. Then the final game on Saturday will be Brentford versus Chelsea. Brentford at home. I'm putting my neck on the line right now with this. I'm saying Brentford are winning this game.
Brentford win, yeah.
Yeah. Brentford
do you know
win,
what?
Man.
He's again, Frank. He's a good manager, man. He's a good manager. Their philosophy, you can see they're not scared to come up against anyone in the Premier League. Already with the big boys, that the last game against Liverpool at home, that was a thriller. Do you know what I mean? Watching them. So do you know what? Tuchel hasn't had the best of runs as of recent. Again, maybe this international break is what they needed, and they might come ferocious after that. My only thing is at the moment, my concern with Chelsea is the situation Rudiger in terms of his contract.
That's a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's my only concern because he will be a big chunk out of that team if he does, decide to leave, and he can start talking to teams from abroad from January. So if there is, a possibility for him to move, I think that might hinder in the back line.
Or hold that for Newcastle.
Nah. I don't see that.
Rudiger to Newcastle, you know. My goodness.
I see. You know what? This guy's improved so much, man. He's a solid defender. He loves defending. Like, he reminds me of the old school defenders, and he can play as well. You know what? I could see him going to like a Real Madrid. Real Madrid have no centre backs at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So I can see him going there, or even a Bayern Munich. I think he's at that levels. I don't think he needs to get a Newcastle move at the moment. Like, he can do 2 seasons, and then he can go somewhere else. He's still fairly young. I think he's 25. I think 26.
Yeah, he's still young. Young.
Yeah.
Not at this stage of his career, anyway. For that move. And then we're moving on to Sunday. Everton versus West Ham. This is a tasty affair. I think this game can go either way, really. Everton are doing quite well under Rafa Benitez, Mr. Fact. And David Moyes, obviously, just coming leaps and bounds with West Ham. You got the likes of Antonio doing his thing up front there. You got the rest of the gang, obviously
playing against his old club.
So, yeah, man, we should see what kind of tasty affair that is. And obviously, we mentioned the likes of Newcastle versus Spurs. And then Monday, I didn't even realize this. Monday night, Arsenal versus Crystal Palace.
We don't do good.
We don't do well under the lights in the evening, 8 o'clock.
On a Monday?
Monday, bro.
Never. No,
8 p.m. Well. Very cold. Could be raining. God knows what the weather conditions are going to be. Man, I obviously Patrick Vieira coming back to the good shout there. The Emirates. You got a wicked ovation. Obviously, the fact that he beat Spurs and his name was still being chanted around the rafter. I always, and I'm always going to put this out, man. I think it's such a crying shame that Arsenal, let me look into the camera right now. Arsenal, you don't put this man, or you don't revere him as one of the greatest Arsenal players, the invincible captain, The fact that he does not have a statue outside the Emirates is a crying shame. It's actually borderline disrespectful because
Politics,
this
isn't it?
guy, yeah, it's politics. Obviously, you know, he went to Man City and he's kind of built himself up under the City monarch. But at the end of the day, man, cast all that feelings aside, this guy is the invincible captain. He should have a statue outside the Emirates, man.
I think it was also when he left us as well. I think because there was a seat, like he was always linked in it to like Real Madrid and all these big clubs, which rightly so he should have. But I think it was the season when he left to go, was it
Juventus.
Juve? Yeah, I think that was the season where I think Wenger probably asked him to stay one more because I think he was going through that transition of you know building a new stadium and I think that's what it was really because you know. Like we should have had Vieira in that middle of the park in the final, in the Champions League final.
Yeah, we would have won that. We would have won that with the likes of Vieira.
You know what I mean? So I think that's what it was more so why the whole politics and then obviously, like you said, City. But yeah, he should have a statue. But again, politics outweigh these things, man.
Yeah, maybe one day Vieira to Arsenal.
Bro, well, like you said, if the likes of Arteta is getting an opportunity. And Vieira's done a lot more for the club. Why did we not give that opportunity to Vieira from before Arteta? Yeah. If we're going to go down that route, because Vieira's had experience of being a first team manager, so it just depends. I want to see him do well. Do you know what I mean? I'm a big fan of Vieira, so I want to see him do well at Palace. And then, why not? Why not? If he shows that
he's doing the business,
League, why not? Why not bring him to Arsenal? But again, it just depends on who's running the club. So,
Boy, with all of these rumors of obviously we've seen that takeover at Newcastle. Now we're hearing rumors about Arsenal with the Qatari royal family.
Boy.
You never know.
But Daniel Ek is still in the picture.
Yeah, Daniel Ek, and then you got the Nigerian billionaire Dangote.
We've been linked in for years now, bro. Like 10 years. We've been linked to this guy for years.
So many. So this is definitely the real Super League, man. Because man, we just got to see, man. There's a part of me that feels like maybe it could happen. Where the Kroenkes are probably ready to sell up, but I can't really see it, man. I can't really see why the Kroenkes would want to get rid of, their money maker in Arsenal. Although we're hearing that they're at a loss at the moment, but I don't think it's a major loss. I think it's something that could be repaired, but it just depends on how much they want to invest in the club. Obviously, they've spent money, but I don't think it's the money that's. It's not just about spending money. And I think that's a prime example in what we were just talking about Newcastle. I don't think it's just going to be about spending money. It's about the infrastructure. Who have you got in? Who is your director of football? Who is the one that is responsible? Do you have like a David Dean, for example, that can go and negotiate these and go and really charm these players and be like, listen, there's a project here. We want you to be, the first of the bunch to kind of lift this team and lift this, project off the ground. So, it's going to be very, very interesting to see and what happens next. But in terms of like what the Premier League games that we've just gone through, this is our bread and butter. You know what I mean? Like to just go over these teams is just building more excitement and just, man, bun this international break. All these, I can't take it, bro. Unless it's like tournament football, like unless we get to the Qatar and we've just seen obviously the tournaments has gone by. I'm there for that. But when it comes to all of these glorified friendlies and seeing offsides that are not offsides and man.
But you know what? The Nations League, I wasn't for it when it first started. However, seeing the way players take it serious, innit? They take it as a competition. Like they're players that, they're competitive. So if you put something, even if it's a trophy at the end, they want to win it, innit? Regardless. And we saw in a final against Spain, against France, it was a very, very good game. Spain's got some wonderful young players coming through, man.
What's that 17-year-old? What's his name? Is it Gavi? Gavi? Is it Gavi?
Gavi, yeah. Gavi, you got Pedri. Pedri is obviously we've seen what he did in the Euros. Spain's got a very good young side coming through. yeah, France have got some elite players in it. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it was a good show for the Nations League, like
for
to say
Nations
that,
League.
it is a competition that these players are taking serious.
Well, boy, there we have it, man. We just broken down the Newcastle takeover. Coach G obviously coming in with his expertise. You know what I mean?
We're
I
coming.
love, yeah, man. I love speaking to you, man. I love speaking to you.
Likewise, man.
Yeah, man. Break down, man, just where they can find you, and stuff like that, and what you're doing at the moment. Shout out your stuff, man.
Yeah, man. So yeah, on Instagram, Coach Gerald .Lammy. It's on the screen right there if you can see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can find me on Instagram there. Just hit me up. And also on YouTube, Coach Gerald Lammy. Again, podcasts on there. We've got vlogs on there as well. Went to the NFL the other day, so vlogged that.
Jeez.
It was an experience to see an American sport. I've never seen American sport live anyway. So just to see, I didn't have a clue what was going on, but
Yeah.
the atmosphere was good, and just to see the way these guys are just athletes, man. That they're different athletes and not just your regular football players. What these are specimens that they're catching the ball on the floor, jumping. It's crazy. So yeah, it was lovely, man. But yeah, check that out. Check out the vlog. I do a lot of those vlogs in terms of just journeying the getting to the games, checking out the atmosphere. I know a lot of people sometimes, especially for people that live abroad, have never experienced it. So kind of just showcasing that. And yeah, man, that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Guys, he does a good job with that, man. Because like I said, like he was saying, he's just giving you that, human perspective of what it is just to go to a game, from the journeys of maybe even coming off the trains or tube, whatever, you're doing, and then actually going through the gates and then taking your seat and stuff like that, man. So I've seen a couple of his stuff there, man. So go and check it out. I will put all the description, the links in the description area. So you got the direct link to Coach G. And yeah, man, a pleasure as always, my bro.
Likewise, my brother, man. Love what you're doing as well, and look forward to the next conversation, man.
100%. We got them. We'll definitely touch on Mo Salah, because I truly believe he deserves a segment for himself. You know what I mean?
You need him in the background, bro. Right? You see where you got him? He needs his face right there.
He's right there. Where is it?
Yeah, I see. But I need a big one. Do you know what I'm saying? Like yeah, no, 100%. We need to
definitely break it down.
Do we have to do a top 10 ever?
Yes.
See, there's top 10.
There's so many stuff, man. We
have to do a top 10. So
top 10 of breaking down, because it's quite interesting when you think about the top 10 in itself. Like, because you can break down, are we going through just direct strikers? Are we going through like inverted guys? Are we going for like guys that were wingers and now they're strikers? There's so many.
We might have to do that. We might have to do that.
100%, my bro. We'll definitely lean on that. So, man, until the next time, guys, a Dash of Sports Premier League show, and we out.
Peace.
And that's that for this week. And once again, a big thank you to Coach G, Gerald Lammy, for jumping on the show. And to you guys as well. I truly appreciate your love and support for checking out another episode of a Dash of Sports Premier League show. And if you need further information about future episodes or just your day-to-day sporting updates, then hey, come and check me out, man. I'm on Instagram and I'm also on Twitter, which is a Dash of Sports. I'll put it down below here at Dash of Sports, and I'll also leave the link for myself and Coach G in the description area so you can check us out directly. And remember to press the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my shows. And with that being said, until the next time here on the Dash of Sports Premier League show, peace.